We are the Louisiana Travel Promotion Association. We are a nonprofit trade organization of about 750 members from across the state of Louisiana that includes destinations, hotels, restaurants, and attractions. Louisiana travel is an industry, Jerry, and it is a strong industry. It is the fourth largest employer in the state of Louisiana, and this touches every part of our state. I think that everybody needs to clearly understand that we are a part of the economic development picture, and especially during the times when oil and gas are not as strong in the state of Louisiana, tourism can really fill those gaps for our coffers, both at a state level and a local level.
What does tourism mean, particularly in rural Louisiana?
It's very important to rural Louisiana. Sometimes it's the only economic development that a community may have.
We're here to celebrate another record year in tourism. Last year, over $1 billion in taxes that you and I didn't have to pay that was left here in Louisiana by tourists. An incredible year in international travelers, up 37%. So we're here to celebrate that with the tourism folks from around the state that made that happen. And to talk about what we're going to do this year, the new and exciting events coming up around the state, better ways to market all of the areas around the state, not just New Orleans. And as those international travelers land in New Orleans, to make sure they head west or north and not just head to the beaches to the right of us. So a lot of good meetings. We're real excited about having our friends from South Carolina with the park system there here as we venture into this private-public partnership with our state parks to relieve that tax burden off of the taxpayers of Louisiana by doing these private-public partnerships. And South Carolina's Parks Director is here today to talk to us and tell us some of the great ideas they've been able to do in South Carolina. We're looking all over the country in museums and state parks, all the things that we might be able to do just a little bit better and get people more into our state parks and museums.
It's so important for us to be able to communicate the value of tourism to the state, to our legislators, as well as our constituents and the citizens of the state, so that they understand that tourism is a major product. It puts off tax dollars for our state to use to provide services to our citizens. That's why it's important for us to completely invest as much as we can into the tourism industry and grow this wonderful import and export that we have called tourism.
Tourism obviously is, for us, it's the most important industry because, not only does it bring people to your community, but also helps to define and protect and preserve your culture. And if you're not defined by your culture, what are you defined by?
Tell us, how vital is the state's support for tourism in your area?
Oh, it's absolutely important. We need the money to attract people to the state, to the larger cities, and to the smaller communities throughout Louisiana. So without the state support, we can't do our jobs. And studies show that if you don't promote and advertise your communities, then no one comes, or the people that come are not really the people that have the amount of money that you want them to spend in your communities.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry for the state. In Baton Rouge alone, it's over $1 billion of economic impact. When we get together with our associates from throughout the state, not only do we get to network and learn what's going on throughout the state, we get to cross-reference and cross-sell our areas. For instance, a visitor to New Orleans, we try to attract also to Baton Rouge or to Lafayette or what have you. So it's very, very important. LTPA is a tremendous organization, and we're very, very happy to be part of it.
Why is it important that the state support tourism?
Well, tourism, again, economic development, bringing people to the area. It's importing money into the area from visitors from elsewhere. And the important thing about it is a visitor very seldom uses the services, very seldom the police, the fire, what have you. So it's free money coming into the state. It's a tremendous industry, and it's certainly something that the state is very, very dependent upon.
Toledo Bend is located in rural Louisiana. It's a northwest boundary between Texas and Louisiana. For our economy, we have timber, tourism, and agriculture. So tourism is extremely important to our population of 25,000 people.
How vital is the state's support of the tourism industry in your area?
extremely. The fact that we are rural, we have a very low budget, and each year the state promotes something else wonderful in Louisiana, whether it's food or culture or whatever. This year they're promoting Louisiana's great outdoors. So they've been especially supportive, not only this year but always, in their grant programs, in the exposure that they bring or help us achieve through TV. This year with Louisiana's new Bass Trail for the northern state parks and fisheries in Louisiana, it's been extremely important.
It is very important in our community, especially in the rural areas where those citizens do not have a whole lot of money to market their attractions, their livelihoods, whether they're a swamp tour operator, a small restaurant, a small museum, etc. So tourism drives all of that money to our marketing promotion efforts, and without it, those places probably wouldn't even exist.
Why is it important that the state support tourism throughout Louisiana?
Well, because once again, it's for all of the citizens, from north to south to east to west, and all of the smaller ones make up the big picture of tourism. People come to New Orleans and Baton Rouge and Shreveport and those larger cities, but what they don't realize is when they step outside those boundaries, they're still in those smaller parishes and supporting the livelihood of those citizens.
Tourism is not only all of the great things that we have in our parish, but it also brings plentiful jobs to our community, along with all of the visitors that come into our area and spend their tax dollars and help our community to grow. We have wonderful things for visitors to see and do when they come to Ascension Parish. Of course, we're strategically located right off of I-10 between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. We have Tanger Outlet, which is a wealth of outlet stores and brands which bring all of the great deals, and Homeless House Plantation and Garden is really our jewel of our parish, and we have wonderful visitors that love international visitors come as well to visit that location. We have historic Donaldsonville also. We have just a multitude of things for just about everyone.
How vital is the state's support of tourism to you?
Oh, it's our link to really outside of our area. It's the greater picture of how we bring all of our visitors in internationally into our areas. Of course, we have all of these great direct flights that have started through New Orleans from other countries, and of course that brings them right into our corridor and visiting our area as well.
Each area of the state, tourism is a huge product for us. Where we're located in Tangipahoa Parish, it's a bedroom community for Baton Rouge or New Orleans. So we're very blessed in that way that we're able to really capitalize on our location.
Tell us, if you would, a little bit about how vital is the state's support for tourism in your community?
Well, it's crucial. We're a smaller area, so we heavily depend on the research projects, the marketing projects, whether it's having the Lieutenant Governor come in to make an appearance at one of our events. Having those opportunities is priceless for our area.
It's very important to Northeast Louisiana. Just in Ouachita Parish alone, it generates millions of dollars in tax revenue, as well as about 1,900 jobs within the community, from our hotels, restaurants, the airport, all the different aspects of tourism that are a big influence in even a small area in Northeast Louisiana like Monroe, West Monroe.
How vital is the state's support of tourism to your area?
It's very important because the state is able to market and bring the people into the area. They may not necessarily had Monroe, West Monroe on their mind, but they come and they explore and they get out and see all of Louisiana, especially international visitors travel the whole state. And then many visitors come back over and over again. They're like, well, I've done New Orleans, which everybody knows, and then they're like, I loved it so much, I want to know more. And so the state's marketing and their campaigns give us the opportunity to buy into those, give us an opportunity to be out there in front of crowds maybe we're not able to be in front of without those dollars out there marketing, and then also the opportunity to co-op with them to some specific target markets. Those are very vital to us as we try to bring people to Louisiana to spend their money.
Tourism is a big business for Southwest Louisiana, and we are so proud to be the South's premier resort destination in Lake Charles. We are excited that we have casino gaming, but we're also excited that we have corporate tourism. So it's a nice pie that's divided up between maritime and aviation and medical care and tourism. So we're real thrilled about that.
How vital is the state's support of tourism to your area?
Well, we depend a lot on the state. I'll give you one major example is international marketing. We couldn't participate in international marketing without the Louisiana Office of Tourism. They have representatives in 7 countries, and we're able to piggyback along with them to market ourselves internationally as well as domestically on some programs.
Tourism is one of our biggest economic generators for Shreveport-Bossier, Caddo, and Bossier parishes. Not only do we have the casinos, but we also have a number of smaller attractions that do a great job of inviting visitors.
Tell us, how vital is the state's support of tourism to your community?
The state provides tremendous support of tourism in our community, and it is very important because we couldn't do it just on our own. People don't come necessarily to just one region. They think of Louisiana first and then choose where to go.
Here in New Orleans, the tourism industry is the single most important industry. We're the largest employer with over 87,000 employees here inside the parish that live in the 10 surrounding parishes. But more importantly, we do over $7.5 billion a year importing of capital into New Orleans. And we produce nearly 40% of the tax base of the entire city and the operating budget. So it is critical from an economic perspective. It is the most important from a jobs perspective because people from every neighborhood, every street, and every corner of the city work in our industry. We're all colleagues, and it allows us all to rally around this incredible culture, which is our #1 selling point. So it's a lot of fun. It's great to have all of our colleagues around the state in today.
Well, the message very simply is that the market demand is changing. And we all know that we have a new generation of travelers that are about to populate the landscape. We call them millennials. And what I want to share with the group today is the dramatic difference in the way they think about leisure time vacations, the way they plan vacations, the motivations for those vacations, and really how those differ from an audience that traditionally has visited Louisiana, which is the audience of boomers and less so matures. It's a whole transformation in terms of the landscape. There's some fascinating things they're going to see in terms of this new demand generator and the implications for really addressing their interests in terms of attracting them to Louisiana.
Describe the difference between the millennial tourist and the baby boomer tourist as it applies to Louisiana.
Sure. Well, as it turns out, the first difference we all know is just the age classification. These tend to be people who are younger we classify them as between roughly 20 and 35 years of age. But more importantly, it's their lifestyle, their media habits. I think as we all know, they're more likely to be consuming online media, more likely to be directly engaged with social media, sharing opinions, videos, commentary, and so forth. But importantly, their view of the world, of what they're entitled to. And that is, they tend to be a lot more impulsive, right, making decisions very quickly. So for people in the hotel community, that's a really profound insight because a lot of the hotels make projections based on what happened in the past. And as it turns out, as we say, the past may no longer be prologue in the travel business today. As a result of that, you see a lot of decisions that are being made close into the point of departure or the date of arrival. Things like what the motivations are. They're far more interested in not just experiences, but things that are truly personal in nature, self-improvement, wellness, things of that nature, which are a lot different than traditionally what we've seen from older travelers, for example. There is a real sense of indulgence that is emerging on the part of millennials, which is really interesting because you think of the irony as many of them are not as fully employed as perhaps their parents would like. We'll have a little fun with that today. But the reality is they feel that sense of entitlement that when they do make that decision to go ahead and take a getaway or a vacation, they want to step it up, not step it down. They're less concerned about the longer-term financial consequences of maybe indulging for a couple of days. And that's a completely different visitor than we've seen before.
We are so glad to be back in this city. It seems it's been far too long since we have been in New Orleans. So thanks to everybody who has made that happen, and I'm going to get to point out a few people real soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Tourism Summit. The theme for this year's conference aligns perfectly with the Lieutenant Governor's Bayou Crew Ambassador Program. As he seeks to encourage visitors to share their only Louisiana experiences online and any other way they can, we recognize that it is all of you in this room who make it possible, who make those experiences possible for our visitors, who are so important to our economy. Your hospitality, your stories, and your flavor truly make Louisiana the unique destination that it is across the globe. This week, we hope to encourage you in all that you do with a mixture of education, some great networking, as we showed last evening, and of course, a lot of fun. New Orleans is great for a lot of things, including a lot of fun. And if I might say, a World Championship football team, the New Orleans Saints. I had to get that in, just had to. The goal of this conference is to reignite the passion inside each of you, and also after these few days together, equip you with the knowledge and tools that will help show the world all of the great food, the music, the sights, and the experiences that are truly only Louisiana.
It's a real honor for all of us to welcome you guys here to New Orleans. It's been how long has it been since the meeting was here? 10 years. So really delighted to have you guys back. This has been an eventful year. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who worked as advocates on preserving funding, on dedicated funding for tourism around the state of Louisiana. We're living in a time of peril right now. And it is critical for all of us because as jet fuel is to a plane, these marketing dollars are to us. They literally make the difference. And so we have to stay united, whether it's from Union Parish or Caddo Bossier or anywhere in Louisiana. We've got to remain steadfast with our legislators with making the case for why this industry matters. You guys, I don't have to tell you all the numbers. You know it, of what the impact is statewide. But here in New Orleans, it's 40% of the operations of the city, 87,000 employees, $7.5 billion in imported capital each year. It's pretty amazing, folks. And without this, we can't be what I think legislators and other elected officials are beginning to realize that we are. We are the #1 job creator in the state of Louisiana, from parish to parish to parish to parish. We are the economic driver that puts so much into the state, but even more than that, because of what you do, y'all are in essence the cultural stewards of the heritage of the state of Louisiana. And that really makes a difference. So thank you for all that you do. You're going to see some fun things from us over the next year or two as you come down. We've got a new nearly $1 billion airport that's going to open not long after January 1st in 2019. That's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to have a new major hotel development down on the river, another expansion in the convention center. We've just confected a deal with the city and the port to create a magnificent new riverfront space that's going to go from where the moonwalk is now all the way nearly to Bywater. It's going to be amazing as we've taken over the development of where the Nickel Street wharves are. It's going to create outdoor space and pedestrian landscape that's going to be wonderful. So thank you all. We want you to know this. We are putting a ton of money into international marketing, not just to help New Orleans, but to partner with the state to drive this for you guys. Because they only spend 3 or 4 days here, and then they spread out all over the state of Louisiana. So we want you to know that we've got millions of dollars pledged, whether it's to Condor, to British Airways, to extra marketing. We're doing those things that we think are going to make a difference in at least 40 other parishes really in the state of Louisiana. Just know we're your partner, and we love being your partner. And let's hope we've got another great year ahead. Take care and welcome.
I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of the employees that work under the Lieutenant Governor, from the welcome centers to Kyle and his team to the state parks, because it's you're the face in meeting the people day to day that make people want to come back to Louisiana. And to all of the tourism CBDs around the state and your team, everywhere we go to promote Louisiana, that love and passion has excited me. And that's what keeps me going 24/7 in promoting the state. It's everywhere I go around the state, that smile, that energy, those new ideas, all these things we're going to talk about at lunch tomorrow. The fishing trail, the ambassador program, staycation. Those are your ideas. I'm just lucky enough to be the guy to put it together and make it happen. So keep those ideas coming. Don't ever lose that love and passion, and have a glass of wine tonight for me. Thank you.
What does tourism mean to the economy of Louisiana?
Well, it's big business. Employs over 230,000 people. It's number 4 or 5 every year in the size of business in Louisiana. The hotels, the restaurants, everything feeds off of tourism. And in many communities around Louisiana, it is the #1 industry for those areas. So it's so important that we continue to work together with all the partners here to make sure we're doing everything on a state level to support those local convention and tourism bureaus as they try to pull people into their neck of the woods.
Our food's the best in the country, best in the world, we think, and it's all about our Louisiana seafood. We produce some of the best seafood in the world. We believe it is the best, and we've got some hard-working people across this state that work every day to provide those people with seafood.
What kind of a national reputation does Louisiana seafood have, and how does that translate into tourism?
So we ship seafood all over the country to many, many big areas that people travel here from Chicago and New York and those areas to come here to eat our seafood on a yearly basis for vacations.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, periodically when elected officials go above and beyond to support one of Louisiana's largest industries, we feel it is important to recognize them in a very special way. Today, it is my honor to recognize a friend to tourism for many years, and a personal friend of mine as well. With more than 4 decades in the Louisiana legislature, John Alario currently serves in the upper chamber as Senate President. He has earned a reputation as a solid source of support, not only for our industry, but for sitting governors. He's a trusted confidant among lawmakers, and he is always expected to have a seat at the final negotiating table. He's the one and only person in the state's history to have served as both Speaker of the House and President of the Senate, twice. He is also the longest current serving legislator, serving his first term after the 1972 elections. A native of West Wego, John carries with him a great deal of goodwill. Brick and mortar are especially important to him. He likes to leave a legacy. He supports TOPS funding and is an advocate for state employees. A tax consultant by profession, John is knowledgeable about the state revenue code and frequently speaks on tax-related issues. His top priorities include crime reduction, flood protection, and stabilizing insurance rates. Known as the Dean of the Louisiana Legislature, many say John is the most influential person outside of any governor over the state budget. In that capacity, he has been the ultimate tourism champion for decades, fighting for state tourism promotion investments, major event funding, and protection of local CVBs and local government authorities. Senator John Alario exemplifies a state official who truly understands tourism's significant return on investment and deserves a large portion of the credit for helping our industry top the $1 billion mark in state tax revenue generated in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present a special 2017 Governmental Friend of Tourism, this award to the Honorable Senator John Alario.
You know, I've had the pleasure of serving in the legislature now, and if I live long enough, at the end of the term limits will finally get me now, and it'll be 48 years. I served in the Jefferson school system as a school teacher and an accountant for them for a number of years, so my total time will be about 55 years in public service. So I'm very grateful for the constituents I represent who have been very forgiving of me through the years, and it allowed me to continue my work and to get on with it. I can tell you, tourism is such, I ought to be here, talking with Senator Mike Walsworth and the other legislators who are here, we ought to be here giving you all awards. That $1 billion at least that you contribute to the state treasury is a big, big part. It's over 11 to 12% of our total general fund. So with that, we were able, this past legislative session, to fully fund the TOPS program. The universities in our state, for the very first time in 10 years, did not receive any cuts, which is tremendous gain, both in elementary and secondary education. They didn't take any hit either. So We think education is so important in our state and to move us forward and to pull ourselves up our bootstraps that we want to do it. But I got to tell you, you also have such a big champion in the Lieutenant Governor. I've never seen a guy work so hard on behalf of culture, recreation, and tourism than he has, the effort he puts into it. And he's not afraid to come talk to us on a committee level. It's not smoke-filled rooms anymore because we disallowed all that now. But he doesn't mind getting in the room with us and rubbing elbows and doing what's necessary to talk on your behalf and quite frankly on behalf of the people of this state. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful for this award. Very humbled by it. Thank you.
The last couple of legislative sessions, and not to mention special sessions, too many to number, have required endless hours of work, both for our hardworking legislators as well as those on our team who work daily to advocate for the tourism industry. And we have a number of those partners in this room that we can not thank enough for their work. But earlier this summer, our board passed a resolution to recognize two special individuals who fight daily for our industry. And I'd like to read a resolution that they passed at our recent board meeting. It's a resolution of the Board of Directors in recognition and profound appreciation of distinguished service by Randy Haney and Ryan Haney of Haney and Associates. Ryan, would you come join me? I know your dad couldn't be here today, but I want you to stand next to me as I read this. Whereas Randy Haney and Ryan Haney have always been mindful of the interests of the Louisiana Travel Promotion Association's advocacy efforts, and I think we've worked with them since the 80s, actually, you guys, as may be required on behalf of its members, and have worked tirelessly to advance such efforts. And whereas these gentlemen of honor, integrity, and great distinction have faithfully served as legislative counsel to LTPA over many decades, most notably beginning in the 90s to create stable funding sources for the Louisiana Office of Tourism and the Louisiana Convention and Visitors Bureaus, and continuing even now to protect this funding so as to benefit Louisiana and its citizens. And whereas Randy Haney and Ryan Haney have provided outstanding leadership and guidance, displaying exemplary commitment and focus to LTPA and the Louisiana tourism industry through such efforts, therefore be it resolved that the Louisiana Travel Promotion Association Board of Directors, on behalf of its members, hereby commend Haney and Associates and extend our sincere appreciation for their service during the 2017 regular session and special sessions. Thank you, Ryan and Randy.
Well, guys, what an honor and what a surprise. Being in this business for 10 years, I can honestly say it has been an honor to represent this industry, to work with Jill, her team at LTPA, this Lieutenant Governor, and all the folks who make tourism successful every day. We have a lot of fun clients. We do folks like the New Orleans Saints and casinos and alcohol, but I can tell you there's no funner client and nobody we get more enjoyment out of working with than this group. We believe in tourism. We know it's the economic driver that gets us through downturns in our economy. And to be able to advocate for you guys, we're successful because of the good work you all do. And so we see it purely as a partnership, and this has been such an honor and a surprise. I really wish my father could have been here because he really started this partnership with LTPA back when we passed the original sales tax dedication that actually funds out-of-state advertising. And it's been a fun journey to protect that and then to even grow that pie as revenues have increased. Randy wishes he could be here. He lets me fill in for him a good bit now. He's actually in Mexico shooting dove. But had he known we would have been honored today, I promise you this would have been his top commitment. He would have been here. So on behalf of our firm, thank you to LTPA, to the tourism industry. What an honor. This means a lot to us, and we do it out of love, and the award is really a great honor, but it wasn't necessary because we love what we do and we love working with you guys. So thank you so much.
Once again, our heartfelt thanks to the Haneys. Next up to the podium.
I think if we can continue to fund tourism at the level that it is state mandated to be funded, and to spend that money wisely as the Lieutenant Governor has and the Office of Tourism, then we're going to be in really good shape. We create partnerships all across our state with our Convention and Visitors Bureaus who are strong supporters of what the Lieutenant Governor is trying to accomplish.
The most important thing in tourism is marketing and marketing dollars. I mean, it's like jet fuel for an airplane. So what we've seen is our production has gone up as we've gotten more marketing dollars, and that means jobs. And so if you take marketing dollars away, you're talking about taking jobs away in every parish of the state. And more so here, and it's got a magnifying glass here because of the critical importance of the industry. So for us, it's marketing dollars. The other is continuing to do infrastructure enhancements, building new hotels, the new restaurants, the new museums and cultural venues, the new airport that we have. But at the end of the day, it's also safety. People want a safe environment to come to. And so that's obviously in any big urban city, you've got those issues to deal with. And New Orleans is like all others in that regard.
In November, we do have an item where we are asking to increase the hotel tax by 2%, the occupancy tax, people staying in hotels by 2%. The Hotel Association is in favor of it. That 2% will be split between Visit Baton Rouge for our marketing efforts and the renovation of the River Center Arena. Again, it's for a certain portion of Baton Rouge, but it will affect the entire Baton Rouge area, and for the most part, it won't affect locals because it will tax 2% upon visitors that come into our hotels.
What will that mean in terms of being able to bring more people to Baton Rouge?
You know, we're in such a competitive market. We want to bring in more sporting events. We just had the Women Bowlers Congress in Baton Rouge, which was, $20 million of economic impact. This additional money will assist us in pursuing sporting events, conventions, major events like Bayou Country Superfest, etc. It will bring tremendous amount of business to Baton Rouge, and we look forward to that passing.
I hope we can encourage people to come here to eat our good seafood and eat in our restaurants and come here and visit Louisiana because there's a lot to see and a lot to offer.
This city is just on fire, and especially as it begins to celebrate its 300th anniversary. We're so excited to be here to kick this event off for them this year. The summit, the Lieutenant Governor's Tourism Summit, is an important event to our industry because it is our biggest educational event of the year.
If people have questions like more information about LTPA, what should they do?
Sure. Give us a call at 225-346-1857, or they can go to our website where all of the information is there. It's ltpa.org.
The matching grant money for promoting events and tourism activities in every community around the state, it's survival for them. They don't have the funds, the resources, and now on a state level, being able to work with the local convention bureaus to push out across the state all of their activities and share that around the state as we start to really market staycation, getting people to travel here in Louisiana and see a part of Louisiana you haven't been to before. It's just going to be a great partnership.
If people have questions like more information about Louisiana travel, what should they do?
LouisianaTravel.com, or they can call our office or any of the convention and visit bureaus in their neck of the woods. They'll be glad to help them.